So today inshallah al-haraka min ghayri jinsi salah, the movements that is not from the salah. So sometimes we want to know, well, first one is al-haraka al-kathira al-mutawaliya, when you tend to move a lot in your prayer. So what is the meaning of this? Generally sometimes people tend to move. So when it becomes so much to the point that the person standing next to you, they don't even know if you're praying or you're not praying. This is when generally the scholars will tell you, in this case, this movement is an invalidation. Is the evidence strong? Some scholars will tell you, if you move 3 times a unit and all of that, but generally if you are moving to a point where the person does not know you're praying or not praying, is what they will say as al-harakat al-kathira, when you have a lot of continuous movement. Al-haraka al-yasira li ghayri maslaha, when you move for no benefit, i.e. you're scratching your head sometimes, or you might be in this part of the world, obviously nobody's wearing the headgear. If you ever travel to the Gulf, some of these people, mashallah, they'll move it back, they'll move it front, they will fix in the salah so many times, he's annoying you also. So in this case, he's not doing a lot, but there is no need for it. So generally in those cases, it's makruh. Al-haraka al-yasira li maslaha. Then in the other one is when he actually moves for a reason. So let's start with something that is disliked. The first one is when you crack your fingers. This is something that is disliked. The other one is when you move. The sunnah is to look at the bottom of the floor the place where you prostrate is where you're supposed to look. So when you start moving your head left and right, when you start looking above, this is also something disliked. And you can say this. You can just turn both of these together also. When you raise your eyes without any need. So when is it permissible? Many of you must have noticed when Ramadan happens. Sometimes a person just decides to leave while the salah is happening, or maybe he has to go to the washroom, whatever may be the reason. So sometimes when they move, or sometimes when there's enough space, you decide to move forward. Where there is a need, in this case it's permissible. So one of the things that people also tend to do is carrying your child is permissible. So hamlul tifl or hamlul mustaq. So when there is a dire need, when you have to carry your child, generally you're just permissible for you to carry your child. Only in one case the scholars typically tell you when you know he has najasa, i.e. you can smell. In this case, they will tell you not to carry the najasa, so drop him at that point of time. And you leave him keep him down. You don't want to be carrying najasa when you're actually praying. So generally, you're allowed to carry your child when you're praying, except it becomes very clear to you that he's in a state of impurity. Then don't carry him at that point of time. Iglaq al-jihaz al-hatif, i.e. the phone is ringing.
I have a question connected with that. Usually a child is uncomfortable in the state of najasa.
Uncomfortable, like they make movements.
They're going to start crying and making noise.
Yes, yeah. That is also, so sometimes it becomes very obvious. Generally, let's say you don't feel anything, or he's okay, some children, mashallah, no matter what happens there. But let's say purely, at least from the smell perspective, if you know it's very clear that he has najasa on him, then drop it, don't carry the najasa. So this happened to me when I was very young. This is an Arab brother. I let the phone ring. I was only cancelling. And as soon as I gave him salam, the brother looked at me and he was like, you do know it's permissible for you to take your phone out and turn it off. So it is from the actions, permissible actions. When there's a need, you're allowed to take it off and shut it also. Or put it outside, like one of these. Where there's the haja, the moment there's a dire need. Abdul ayat, counting the ayat, fathul bab. So why did they come up with the word fathul bab? Is because the Prophet ﷺ, when he was praying, Aisha radiallahu anha knocked it. When she came at the door, he moved, he opened the door, and then he went back to praying. So any haraka, any moment where there is a dire need is when you can actually move. Anything where you do it for no reason, like cracking your knuckles and all of these things, this is generally disliked. This is not from the adab of the praying a person. What is mubtalat is when you move non-stop. If you guys haven't had that experience, well, alhamdulillah, I pray next to people where they're moving throughout the salah. So you want to know what is permissible, what is let's say, and disliked, and what will actually negate the salah.